Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West. Adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Today I'm going to tell you about the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance was an African American culture movement which occurred from the 1920s until the early 1930s. This artistic renaissance, which means rebirth, was centered out of Harlem, New York. It celebrated African American culture, art, and literature. The African American movement in America from the South to the North and Midwest was the major cause of Harlem Renaissance. After World War I, African Americans from far lands began to migrate to the cities like Harlem in New York to seek new opportunities. The Great Migration was a term used for this movement. Although this movement was centered and named after the Harlem neighborhood in Manhattan, it had a nationwide effect. The Harlem Renaissance was a time when African Americans developed and embraced their own literature, music, theater, visual arts, and the Negro movement. Historians suggest that this era marked the rebirth and a new beginning for African Americans in the United States. They chose to create their own culture based on their roots and not to copy white American styles. It was also an era where African Americans began to seek social and economic equality following the end of slavery. Civil rights activists like Allen Lewarlocky, W.E.B. Du Bois, Madam C.J. Walker, and Langston Hughes all became leaders for African Americans. Alain Lewarlocky is known as the father of the Harlem Renaissance for his publication in 1925 of The New Negro, an anthology of poetry, essays, plays, music, and portraiture by white and black artists. Encouraged by scholar Allen Locke, poets such as Cantu Collin and Langston Hughes wrote about the black experience. Jean Toomer and stories about everyday life, and Claude McKay published a best-selling novel about a black soldier returning home. These were only some of the writers who were busy during the Harlem Renaissance. Most of the African American writers depicted traditional characters yet realistic situations, which reflected on the heritage, style, character, and history. Literary icon Langston Hughes was the first African American to earn a living as a writer in the era. Among the trademarks of the Harlem Renaissance was the emergence of jazz music. Jazz musicians like Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald, Josephine Baker, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Fats Waller, and Dizzy Gillespie became famous. African American painters, sculptors, and actors also contributed to the Harlem Renaissance. The new Negro philosophy was expressed through painting, sculpture, murals, photographs, magazine covers, and illustrations. Among the famous artists during this era were Aaron Douglas, Jacob Lawrence, Palmer C. Hayden, Major Fuller, Augustus Savage, Charles Elston, and Louis Melo Jones. Prominent actors included Charles Glavin, Paul Robinson, and Bill Robinson. The Harlem Renaissance was declined after the stock market crash of 1929 and faded to the Great Depression. The Harlem Renaissance set out to celebrate African American culture, and that it succeeded. Even so, African Americans and other people of color still struggle for equality in society and the creative arts. Thank you for watching this episode of Adventurous Kids.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous